directly how important it is. Like we said, Hillary swept through everything, crushed Sanders in 4 states. She ended up basically winning in Missouri. We'll talk about Missouri here in just a little bit. But these wins come after, a town hall the other night where she goes on and on about Libya and all this, and how, everybody should vote or everybody should support regime change in Libya and all that. And then she goes off on this deal where, it's totally different than Iraq because we didn't lose anybody there.
Well, I can think of 4 families that would highly disagree with her.
Yeah. I mean,
I can seem to recall 4 caskets she personally stood in front of.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows we did lose people. Until my last breath, I will hold her responsible for the death of those Americans that cried out for help, and she did not. This is the woman that last campaign cycle, when she was up against Barack Obama, said she was ready for that 3 a.m. phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look here, lady. You got that 3 a.m. phone call, and you rolled over.
Yeah, completely ignored it. And, it wasn't just what she said. It was the entire lead up to it as well. I mean, they were talking about, the United States, getting rid of dictators and all this stuff. In reference to Syria, in reference to Iraq, Libya, all these other ones. And in Libya, she said that, Libya had a dictator who, quote, had American blood on his hands. That was her justification for getting rid of him. And
America has a dictator that has American blood on their hands.
Right. And she said that that basically these out-of-control civil wars that happened under her, guidance and involvement as Secretary of State really isn't our problem. And she said, well, Afghanistan was not our problem, but, all these allies step up and help out because that's what allies do. This thought process is completely ridiculous. But to openly say that we didn't lose anybody in Libya, knowing damn well that it lies at her feet, and folks still went out and voted for her.
Mm-hmm. And moments like that, I have to keep reminding myself of the great moment I experienced yesterday as a mom. Mm-hmm. Because if I didn't remind myself that there is hope out there, I would look at other young people who are on the Sanders train or supporting Hillary for whatever reason, be it she's a woman or she's got experience or, whatever she touts. If I didn't remember that I have raised a conservative who is engaged and is beginning his journey into being a responsible American, I would be so damn depressed. I would eat chocolate every day.
I can't wrap my military mind around it. And folks, again, this is, to me, a legitimately crucial election. Now, folks like April will tell you that every election is crucial, and they're right. But, if you look at all the issues that I talk about on this show every single day, from warfighter issues to, national security issues to whatever, they're all coming to a head, and the next president's going to have to deal with it. And I just don't think that old Hillary has the ability or even the concern to deal with that. Again, my personal belief, if you want to support Hillary, you go right ahead and do that. But I'd like you to be able to tell me why, because I don't think very many people can.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Very much like Obama's first term when he was elected, I think a lot of people are voting more based on emotion and historical significance than on the facts.
Yeah, I can see that. And we be honest, we saw that a lot with Barack Obama, and look where that got us. So that's what happened on the Democrat side. I mean, Hillary swept through everything, massive victories. And really, I think the only thing that's going to keep her from being the nominee is, if she ends up in handcuffs.
Yeah, I never thought I'd say it, but the FBI could be our saving grace this time.
Yeah, I mean, it really could. Whether that'll happen or not, that remains to be seen. But on the things are far more interesting on the Republican side. And, Donald Trump had a big night. He won a whole pile of states there. Illinois, North Carolina. We already mentioned that he absolutely crushed Marco Rubio there in Florida, which is a huge win. That's 99 delegates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of those.
You and I have had this conversation multiple times. Rubio should have bowed out before Florida because now I fear that he has done almost irreversible damage to his political career.
I think you're right. I do because he's a young guy. He got brought in with the whole Tea Party movement and all that. Really, he's not a bad guy. My big issue with him was his stance on immigration, the whole Gang of Eight thing, and I've talked about that a lot on the show. But losing that badly in your home state, when he swore up and down that the winner of Florida was going to be the nominee, that doesn't look good for your resume.
Well, he could be right. The winner of Florida could be the nominee. It just wasn't him. Right.
So, the big story last night, of course, was Ohio, with your favorite candidate, Kasich. And I say that laughing because you love the way he debates.
Oh, good Lord. I swear that somebody really needs to duct tape that man's hands to his side.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Ohio Governor John Kasich won Ohio. Big time win, but really it doesn't give Kasich a better chance of winning the nomination.
No, it doesn't. Given some of his comments this week, I wonder if people are going to do a second, double take. His comment about he would grant amnesty in the first 100 days.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people that were turned off by Rubio with the Gang of Eight situation, but don't really want to go Donald Trump because of, they may have reservations or not agree with the way he speaks or, he may be a bit too aggressive for them. Well, that particular comment by Kasich could very well turn people to Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it was a dangerous comment for him to make. Well, heck, it wasn't even a comment. He made a promise that he would do something in his first 100 days. We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's banking on being the establishment guy, because of course that was Rubio's kind of role that most people are looking at, and now he's hoping that kind of goes to him. But really, mathematically, he's got no chance of outright becoming the nominee. He's putting all of his eggs in that basket of, hey, I'm going to the convention and, we'll fight it out there sort of deal. And we're going to talk about that whole deal in just a minute here. Ted Cruz, did well yesterday. It's not like he got really blown out. But the only state he put up a real challenge to Trump was Missouri. And what's going on down there in Missouri?
Man, they are quite the hotbed for protests right now.
Mm-hmm.
They border Iowa, so we hear about it a lot here. But to the people who live in Missouri, stay safe. Because it looks like you guys are always just one incident away from eruption.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of back and forth there, and if you look at the votes last night, Hillary Clinton barely edged out Bernie Sanders, and then on the Republican side, Donald Trump barely edged out Ted Cruz. I'm talking with, I actually don't even think, have those officially been called yet?
Last I checked, it was 99.9%. I have not seen the full 100, but 100% certified results.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'll be finished by the end of today.
Yeah, but we're talking, last time I looked, Trump was only up by like 2,000 votes or something. And I already had folks saying, well, is Ted Cruz gonna challenge that and get a recount and all this crap? Legally, he can. It's within that that margin of error. I don't see any advantage of a challenge here for whoever does it, because they do proportional delegates there where they kind of split them up. So basically, it doesn't matter who wins it between Trump and Cruz, they're splitting those delegates anyway, right?
Yes. I've been involved with several different level elections that have been a recall and a recount. You really have to judge the situation carefully if you're going to call for a recount. And I don't think this particular situation will warrant it. And in a presidential election, God, look back to Florida and the hanging Chad situation with Gore and Bush. I mean, for days, weeks, it was nothing but the hanging Chad situation, and video of people with microscope, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh gosh,
I'm not sure.
Well, magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Checking to see if it had truly been punched or not, and that was the only conversation. It no longer was about the election.
Right.
It was about that particular state, their process, the people involved. Was it punched? Was it not? Was it an accident? And that became the whole narrative the whole 2 weeks. I think, especially in a primary, you want to stay away from that, because the minute you ask for a recount, you have completely flipped the script and changed everything that the media will be focusing on. And if you're trying to run a campaign, you will technically have just sucked all the air out of your campaign.
Well, yeah,
it's no longer about rallies. It's no longer about what you say. It's about the people who conducted a vote in that state. And you've lost momentum and control of the story.
Well, there's momentum, there's all that, but then there's the weakness factor. A lot of people look at that as being petty. They can't win outright, so they're going to go down to the wire and get the lawyers involved, sort of thing. So I think a lot of people it looks weak, and that could affect you later on.
Right.
So
I can say that in all of the recall elections and recounts that I've been involved in the last 10 years, there were only two that I felt like were truly warranted. One came down to a difference of 11 votes, and the other came down to the difference of 31 votes. In those situations, yes, by all means, it does need to be looked at carefully.
Oh, absolutely.
But by 2000, in a presidential election, when you're not even to the convention yet, which already looks like it's going to be brokered anyway, you've got to change your strategy for that anyhow. I think it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. And, one more big piece coming out of last night is the fact that the Fox debate that they had scheduled here coming up has now been canceled because Trump said, hey, I'm not doing it. And of course, everybody immediately jumped on that and everything. Donald Trump will be speaking at the American Israel Public Affairs Committee conference. And that, so everybody kind of jumped on him. Oh, look, he's blowing off Fox again. He's afraid of Megyn Kelly, blah, blah, blah. But also, John Kasich has stepped down. He said that, he already has a speech planned, and he would only do the debate if Trump was there. So kind of a blow to Fox a little bit, but I don't fault Donald Trump for doing this at all.
All right, so you and I always talk right before a debate. Are we going to cover it? Are we not? Right. I know, speaking for you and myself, I'd really kind of like a night where I don't have to think about it. We've had enough. Tell me what they're going to say in a debate that has not already been covered. There's not anything.
This is, this would have been number 13, what the hell else are they going to put out there?
At a certain point, you have to understand you can only beat a dead horse. At this point, the horse is not only dead, it's rotting carcass. There's nothing that can be said. At this point, the only thing the media should be looking for is sensationalism. That one moment where two people spar or somebody makes a serious slip up.